All right, so we got about 2 more months left to the end of the year. Where has the time gone? We should start right there. Where has the time gone, right? 2025 is almost around the corner. We're about to start traveling. We're about to start seeing lots of friends, lots of family, lots of, trips. But I want to make sure, right, that post-holiday season that we're not feeling the blues. And why do we typically feel the blues? Because we don't typically practice any healthy habits of eating, right, leading up to holiday season, leading through holiday season, which then leads to New Year's resolutions, right? Like, let's try to see if we can throw a detour in that path of like having to have really big New Year's resolutions and start about talking about healthy eating. Again, yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, favorite board certified internist. Welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. So I think first we should start off with just the practice and the understanding that when you get around friends, when you get around family, it's going to be tougher to eat like you may have been eating, the first 3 quarters of the year, right? Because a lot of peer pressure, you go around, moms and dads and grandma and grandpa, and they're making that favorite dish that you've been trying to stay away from. And you've been doing a good job staying away from for this part year, but like now it's right in front of you and everyone is eating it but you. Extremely, extremely tough position to be in. So I want to talk about how can we make sure that at the end of the holiday season, at the end of the break, we're not feeling kind of down and out. So first and foremost, I think we should always start with prioritizing healthy eating. Because again, if you don't make it a priority to eat healthy, guess what's likely going to occur? You're not going to eat healthy. So we have to make it a priority, again, which is why I want to start out in the beginning of the month before Thanksgiving rolls around to kind of have this conversation. Because once we start putting our thinking caps on and say, all right, what do I need to do to go into Thanksgiving, go into Christmas break, come back 2025, not feeling down and out by myself. Like, I got to make the effort to say, all right, what things can I do in the beginning, right? So first and foremost, we got to worry about portion control. Like, let's not change our significant patterns of portions just because we happen to be around mountains of food. Like, we can't do that. Or you're out of the country or you're just out of town and all of a sudden those portions of food that you're normally used to eating, again, you might have been meal prepping the whole year and now you got plates on top of plates of food. Like, portion control still needs to follow you. Also, we need to make sure we have healthy alternatives, right? We already know grandma and grandpa, they're going to cook that baked ham, they're going to cook that turkey, they're going to cook something that you with hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol should be staying away from. So you may need to tell family like, hey, I know y'all are going to be eating that plate over there. Make sure y'all save me a plate of something else, right? Or bring the plate yourself. It can be very difficult. Like, you got to figure out a way to have an audible, right? You got to figure out a way to have an audible for every bad food that you're going to run into. And what typically happens, especially for a lot of the patients I take care of, is they don't have too many audibles. Right? Like, they got that first choice and that first choice is the only choice and they're like, all right, I'll just deal with it. So make sure you have an audible, aka a healthy alternative to some of the foods that right? We're not surprised. Remember, we're prioritizing the healthy eating, right? So we already know what the enemy is working with, right? So we're going to prioritize, understand, hey, these are the type of foods I'm likely going to run into and I need to have my A, B, and C, D alternatives to eat so I can avoid that food and, not feel terrible about myself. Another thing, staying hydrated, making sure you're getting a great water intake, avoiding, all of those sodas and juices that you normally don't drink, right? Don't tell me you're not a juice drinker, you're not a soda drinker, but once you get around family and friends, all of a sudden, right? And this happens a lot. We go to a restaurant. At home, we drink nothing but water, right? We go to a restaurant, all of a sudden, right? Instead of you just asking that waiter for some water, like, you know what, I'll get a drink here. I'll get a soda here. I'll get some juice here. I'll maybe get some alcoholic beverage here, right? Because we happen to be out and we don't want to kind of look like the odd person in the corner, like asking for, water, bottled water or something in that regards because everyone happens to be there, right? So again, make sure you're staying hydrated, but hydrated with the right and correct things. And then we just have to be very mindful, right? We have to be very mindful with how we eat, how quickly we eat, how much we're eating, right? It is an active process, right? I wish I could tell you eating healthy is a passive process. I could be firsthand witness. It is not, right? We have to be very active in our approach to eat healthy, avoiding obstacles left and right because they will be there. Right? Like, grandma knows your favorite dessert, right? Your auntie knows your favorite dessert. Your auntie knows your favorite side meal. Like, they know the foods that will tempt you, and you have to understand, like, oh, I'm time out. I'm calling an audible. I need something different because I don't want to break what I've been doing these first 3 quarters, right? Because again, I think that's the worst thing. Like, if you do great for like 3 quarters, and at that last quarter, like right when you're almost at the finish line, you fumble the ball because, you know, you ate that couple bad foods and I'm talking as if this may not have like significant health consequences. I can tell you quite often in November and December, even January, we're more used to seeing patients who are hypertensive emergency, heart failure, fluid overload, and dialysis. We're more used to seeing those patients around this time of the year because they eat terribly. Foods that they should not be eating ends up putting them in a hospital. And if you don't want to end up in a hospital during the holidays, right? Maybe you should do a blog on that. If you don't want to end up in a hospital during the holidays, maybe you should probably avoid those foods that you know you shouldn't be eating, right? So definitely there's some things to think about when we talk about prioritizing healthy eating. All right, this next one is a good one, right? Staying active. How many of y'all go on vacation for the holidays to family and all of a sudden your gym routine is, I'm not doing the gym, or I'll be okay for the next 2-3 weeks, right? And then you come back all sorts, right? So have a plan to stay active, plan your workouts, understand like, hey, my local gym may not be in the state that I'm traveling to, but there's got to be some hotel gym or a local gym out there that I can participate in. And most of these gyms will let you go, you know, for a couple of weeks. You know, you may pay like a one-time monthly fee. They'll let you do that because they know you're on vacation, of course, and they like money too. So staying active, planning your workouts, making sure that even if you can't necessarily go out to maybe like a gym, right? But, you know, the family's going to be there, right? Play some sports if you can, right? You know, a little basketball, a little football, do swimming, do something, right? That's going to increase your exercise and activity level. So you can, you know, if you have an Apple Watch, so you can complete your rings, right? Do something to help complete your rings when you're on vacation, because it can be very easy not to do so. Take walks. If you're not used to taking a walk, take some walks, do some swimming. Swimming is a lot of great cardio exercise. Friends and family, again, play basketball, play football, a lot of games that you can play that can speed up that heart rate, right? Because imagine you're working out, you're eating great, then you go on vacation, you stop eating great, your portion control's out the wazoo, you're not being very mindful of what you're eating, and then add on to the fact that you're not working out. You used to work out 3-4 times a week, you're not doing any of that, kind of being a slog around the house. Recipe for disaster, and a recipe for saying, you know what? I got a New Year's resolution for you guys, right? And I want you to avoid the New Year's resolutions that are born out of bad habits that we get during the holidays, right? So please, please, please make sure we are staying involved with our activity level, increasing our activity level, go to the gym, plan your workouts, make sure you get the family involved when it comes to working out as well too, because that can make it a little bit easier. And again, especially if you don't, sometimes you don't want to be the odd person. A lot of people don't like being the odd person. I've noticed that frequently, especially with families, they don't want to be the only person doing something, even when the something is a positive thing. Right? So I don't want to be the only person who drinks water. I don't want to be the only person who's working out during vacation. No, drag one of your cousins or your family members and say, hey, we are going to work out. We are going to exercise. We're going to eat better, to make that burden, having to do so, a little bit less strenuous on you. All right, so this is a good one, right? And this is one thing, and I talked about, you know, the love and care of friends and family. The holidays can be very stressful as well too. For a lot of people, holiday season is a stressor because they typically have to fly or be around someone who may be a stressor in their life for a good week or two, right? And stuff that, you know what, when I'm across the country, it's not an issue. You're in that state, I'm over here. But now that we're in the house and we gotta like kind of be cordial to each other because, you know, mom and dad, right? It could be extremely tough to deal with, right? So understanding that in the aspect of having healthy habits during the holidays, trying to manage your stress level, you work on your avoidance tactics, whether you work on just kind of, again, relaxation, you're meditating, listening to Zen music, doing something, right, that brings your stress level down, because, you know, stress obviously related to hormones, hormones obviously related to weight gain. So all of these things kind of add together, right? So you may not be able to avoid the stressor, right? You may have to fly to the stressor, or you know the stressor is going to meet you there when you get there. But there's definitely ways where you can make sure that you're not blowing up at each other during holidays, right? I can tell you, I've been at a couple holiday parties where that happens. It's not a good sight to see. Not a good sight to see at all, right? So, especially because the holiday season should be about happiness, should be about being cheerful, being around family, being around loved ones, right? But again, some people, we love differently, right? And, you know, sometimes butt heads, right? And we want to make sure that we try to avoid it if we can. If we got to be cordial, if we got to be around this person here, right? Just so we don't make it look bad for the rest of the family, right? Because we don't want the rest of the family to be stressed because you happen to be stressed. Like, that's a good way not to get invited to the next family outing, right? So understanding that, like, yes, I could be stressed and it could be a stressful time. Even when I think about just not even like having that one family member you don't like being around, a lot of times we lose friends and family members, right, who pass away during this time frame. And because they pass away and now you're maybe depressed, you're sad, you're a little bit more anxious, that can add and aid into the unhealthy habits that we pick up during the holidays. So extremely important to understand, you know, what causes our stressors, right? So we have to recognize, hey, these are stressors that happen to me during Thanksgiving, during Christmas. How can I alleviate some of that burden that those stressors are going to place on me? Like, how do I do that? Because again, like I said, I don't want January, February coming around and then you're like, he got me again. All right, New Year's resolution, let's go, right? If you follow me long enough, you understand the importance of understanding that a New Year's resolution can be extremely important if for the fact that can help kind of reset you, but we don't want to add, you know, flame to the fire on our New Year's resolution. So definitely very important to know and understand. Now, this is a big one, right? And this is what you may not think about it. I think there's two schools of thought, right? Especially for people who go out of town when they're vacationing, when they're on the holidays, is either I'm going to sleep really, really well, right? Or I'm not going to get very much sleep at all because I got 100 things planned when I'm out there, right? Like, I don't know which side that you fall on. Let me know in the comments which side you fall on. Are you like that super planner that has to plan out your whole day when you're out of town on vacation during the holidays? Or are you that person who just kind of goes with the flow? You know me long enough, you know I'm the go with the flow type. Like, let's just wake up when we wake up. All right, then we'll just kind of plan the day accordingly. Versus like my wife, she's got to have A, B, C, and D at 10 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock. She likes to have that plan. She can't really process it if we're just kind of freestyling, right? So understand that in the time of processing, right, making sure you get your sleep, right? Because for most people, you're going to be waking up later than you may have normally wake up. You're going to be going to sleep a little bit later than you normally go to sleep, right? So understanding that sleep is still important even when you're on vacation or even when you're in the holidays, especially because it can affect your mood, it can affect your dietary habits, it can affect your dietary choices. It definitely can add to the stress level for sure, right? And sometimes it throws in your planning, right? So making sure you get appropriate sleep during the holidays is going to be important because it can kind of help decrease your anxiety, decrease some of that depression symptoms. It can help you have a little bit healthier habits when it comes to eating and kind of coping with just that change of planning that occurs when you do enjoy the holidays. Like I said, I don't want you not to enjoy the holidays. I don't want you guys to leave this video thinking like, oh, Dr. Pierre does not want us enjoying our holidays. I want you to enjoy the holidays. I just understand, right? Because you guys have been with me long enough that come January, right? Like you're going to be sad and you're going to be blaming like, oh, Thanksgiving was just, oh, Christmas was just, and I don't want you to do that. I want to give you the pre-warning so you don't have to worry about dealing with the issues come January. All right, last but not least, just remember, right, to just enjoy the holidays, right? And I think that's one thing I think sometimes get lost. You have to enjoy the holidays, enjoy the break. It's a fun time. It's a fun time for most people, right? Again, unless you've had some loss, but for the majority of people, it is a fun time. It is a time to be around friends and family members. We understand that, yes, we can enjoy those things. Again, even for my water drinkers, yeah, you can take a little, alcoholic beverage if you want, right? Like if you can, right? Understand that everything comes well, but you can dibble dabble when it comes to kind of the moderation, right? So understand that, like, just do it with a little moderation, right? Like you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to binge. You don't have to like sleep only 2 hours out the day. You don't have to eat plates and plates loads of food. You don't have to like put off your exercise for 4 weeks. You don't have to do any of that. You can just do it in very small moments, right? And just in moderation while enjoying the family, enjoying the friends, because the holidays will be here and then the holidays will be gone, right? And the question you want to know is, when these holidays leave, where do you want to see yourself come January? After Christmas, right when New Year's resolutions are, January's about to count down and you're just like, all right, I got to think of a New Year's resolution. Where do you want to see yourself come 2025? right? I'm hoping, right? Like if you've been following the Lunch Learn community long enough, I'm hoping that you are happier, healthier in every which way, or in the process of doing so. So again, yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, that is our tips for healthy habits during the holidays. I will have a blog post in the show notes as well too, if you just like to read the blog. Like I said, we've been doing very great on just increasing our blog level activity. Shout out to my virtual assistant and AI and all this other stuff here for helping really pumping out the content that I know you guys want to see. So you guys be blessed, and I'm gonna see you guys next week.